Final topic comes from patreon.com/kindafunny, where Tom Cupers went over, backed us there, and got to put his topic into the hopper, and today it's getting pulled, and it is uplifting, so everybody strap in. My topic is failed dreams.
Oh, Lord.
Things you guys wanted to do but gave up on, or things you guys thought you wanted to do but turned out to be awful. I went to college to be a journalist, but quickly found out that the process of editing and writing is like nails on a chalkboard to me. You guys are obviously living some of your dreams, but I'm curious about the places you all thought you were going to end up. Thanks for everything, Tom.
I have a question.
Lay it on, Tom.
You went, no offense, but you went to school for journalism and found that you didn't like to write? How did you land on journalism if you didn't have a passion for writing? Because even if you're doing video or photo journalism or something, that's different, I guess. But
sure.
But you're still writing something when you're doing.
That
just seemed like an interesting kind of.
Not everybody sits on goes and writes for the school paper or goes and gets a column or does these kind of things. Maybe he just thought that looks cool. That'll be cool. I'll do that. I want to tell people.
There was a lot of people in my major that called themselves journalists, and they were just people on camera. You know,
yeah,
they didn't write shit.
It's just a question.
It's one of those. It's funny. He's talking about failed dreams and things you gave up or turned out to be awful, and it's like, I think it seems like a pretty good thing that he went to college. He took that dream. Let's always talk about kind of funny, right? We left, and if it was going to fail, it fails. Big deal. We would have known it. We did it. We took the shot. We wouldn't always sit there and do it. He took the shot. He thought he wanted to be a journalist, got there, and was like, oh, this sucks, and bounced. It doesn't sound like it ruined his life. Not that that's the question.
And I'm not saying that at all, but what I'm asking is like there's fundamental parts of journalism. Like I could understand being like, I don't like the grind. I don't like talking to people. Yeah. I don't like investigating. It's like, okay, I get all of that kind of stuff, but like there just seems to be fundamental things. So that's why I was just asking kind of
I was changing the topic, but yes, I understand. I'm hung up on it.
Have you guys heard of this this word autotelic?
No.
Have you heard of this? So a Patreon creator made a video the other day that was amazing and talked about Van Gogh and how painting for him was autotelic. And autotelic means, let's see if I can remember the definition. When a person does something, not for desired consequence of doing things, but for the joy in doing the thing itself. That is an autotelic experience. So Van Gogh was painting by himself. He lost his teeth and was dying and was unhealthy, and so had to move in with his parents. He wasn't making any money. The only people that saw his work, it was one person, his brother, saw his work, and his brother didn't like his paintings and thought all those painters were better and your paintings aren't very good, but he would send his brother paintings when he finished them. And Van Gogh lived this life making paintings for 10 fucking years by himself because painting for him was autotelic.
So he's a flyer, not a teleporter.
Yes.
Unless he likes traveling.
If he were alive today, if he were somehow able to teleport himself into the future, he'd probably be a teleporter because he'd be fucking multimillionaire. He could just paint shit and sell those paintings for millions of dollars.
That's right.
All right, we might need to define teleporting.
No, you can go through time. If you're allowed to just randomly
time traveling, it's the same thing.
Well, that does bring up interesting things though, because the only way that you can travel forward in time, you can't travel back in time.
Right.
But you travel forward in time by going near the speed of light. So if you are instantaneously ending up somewhere and then come back, then there could be time problems.
Well, yeah, maybe.
But nonetheless,
let's not go really fast. Unless you figured out how to run really, really fucking like the speed of light and you can fly that way. I get what you're saying on the journalism front because I did that with motorcycle riding. That was my not failed dream, but I over-romanticized the idea when I first moved into the city of what it would be like to ride a motorcycle. I was like, you can park anywhere, you look cool, it's super fun. Like, how much fun is it to just jump on this machine that's, seemingly very light and easy to maneuver? I'm going to learn how to ride a motorcycle. And so I did the right thing, thankfully, which is instead of just doing what a lot of my friends did, which they just bought a motorcycle and then kind of figured it out as they went, I went into the safety course. It's a 2-day safety course. If you're ever going to get into motorcycle riding, please do the course first. You can easily find one near you. And about halfway through the first day, I'm like, I don't know if I like this, but I'm not a quitter. And I was enjoying it enough. The mechanics were challenging enough to the point where I'm like, okay, I'm just going to push through this and get to it. Got my license, started riding a little bit, and I was flirting with the idea of getting a motorcycle. And about maybe on my third or fourth ride, I'm like, I just don't like this experience. I don't like the experience of being on the highway, not safely, wrapped in, faux safely wrapped in a car. Feeling
safely wrapped. Well, you're safer.
Well, you're way safer than you are on a motorcycle, but don't kid yourself. You can, it's still dangerous hurling yourself down the highway at 65 miles an hour in a metal tube. But yeah, it's a little crazy. Like a lot of people equate riding a motorcycle with freedom, and I equated it to not terror, but a little sense of dread eventually, where I was like, I don't know that I like this. And then eventually I put a motorcycle down on the ground and I was like, I'm done.
Usually the idea of something is very different than the execution of something.
Yes.
And I think a lot of the times people fall in love with the idea of being like blank. What is it? They imagine what it might feel like to be a traveling DJ or a successful rock band. And the idea of it feels really exciting. And then when you execute that shit, you're like, oh my God, this is hard. Yeah. Like, this is a grind. Like, I'm sure, like, this is really fun for you guys. This is a fuckload of gear, though. Like, there's cameras and cases and, like, screens and, like, this is a grind to haul this shit around and make it work. And
even being on, like, we have to be on all day today, right? Like, that's a skill. And you see it all the time in our thing where people are like, I'm starting a YouTube channel, and they put up a week's worth of content and they stop.
And they stop.
Right.
So, what keeps you guys going? Why do you keep doing this?
I mean, I think so. That's a great segue for me. Is I don't feel like I've had that experience. I don't think that I've had a dream that I haven't hit because I keep doing. I think I keep setting my goals kind of fairly attainable. But then the moment I get them, I always have the next thing to keep going towards, and that's what keeps me going. Is the fact that I haven't hit that wall yet. I will one day, eventually, but I hope I'm dead before that happens. You know, grinding out, trying to do all this shit. But yeah, it's definitely the day-to-day shit of like, hey, it's hard. I am tired right now. I am so tired. And I'm just looking down at the next couple months at all the stuff we have to do. And it's like, it's fun to vent about it and bitch about it. But it's what wakes me up and keeps me up at night in a good way, not in a bad way of like, I'm stoked about this. I want this to happen. And it's like, I want to finish this thing so I can do that thing. And it's like, well, I'm not even enjoying the thing I'm doing now because I'm thinking about that thing. But it's like, it's a weird cycle of when's the fun part come? Oh, this is all the fun part.
Let me ask you, when the fans and the folks watching in the chat room right now, when they think, what is it like to be kind of funny? What do you think they think?
They think that we play video games all day. That I guarantee that's the
I think
answer.
they think we talk all day. We don't put up enough content of us playing games all day for them to think that.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on what side. If it's the fan or the hater. But the haters think we play video games all day. The fans think we talk all day, which is accurate. I don't know. There's a lot of talking, but there's a lot of not talking too.
Yeah.
Which is weird. There's a lot of us thinking.
There's a lot of thinking.
You know?
There's a lot of planning. There's a lot of preparation. Yeah, there's a lot of work in terms of flipping the room and da-da-da-da. And I think you see it when it surfaces when something doesn't work. And everybody's like, Kevin, you had one job. And it's like, Kevin's got 85 jobs. We all have 93 jobs to do on a daily basis. So like, yeah, when the one thing breaks that you think's his job and you make a big deal about it, and whether it's Kevin or it's me saying, you know what I mean? Like, fuck you. You know what I mean? That's the answer.
I know what you mean though, because you just said it when you were saying, you know what I mean?
That was what I was saying. Though,
Ladies and gentlemen in the chat right now, go to
Tim, you don't give us enough credit. We know you guys bust your asses.
No, everyone, we know. We're not, this isn't us knocking you. We know you know.
And that shit pisses that shit does piss me off
all the time.
For Greg's like verbal tics, for instance, like that shit annoys me to see that because I'm like, you know, I'm protective of Greg where I'm like, I'll make fun of Greg all I want, but you better not fucking make fun of Greg at all, you know, because like that's my brother, that's my one of my best friends, a very important person to me, and I often say to people, it's like, if we recorded you for 15 hours a week, I'll pick apart what you're saying. You know, and it's not easy. That's the thing I've learned from this is that it's just being on isn't easy, and it's really difficult to be on every day, especially for Colin and Greg live. Like Greg and I will literally have to do something every day for a live audience. Nonetheless, our podcast and all that kind of stuff, and I'm like, it's a difficult thing. That's what I've appreciated most about this is that when we were at IGN and I was a writer and I was senior editor and I can just disappear and go on trips and research and write, that was way easier than having to be a personality that has to be on and be kind of micro studied under a microscope when I'm not in a good mood or something like that. Like that's the kind of stuff that like really breaks me down sometimes. So that's what I've appreciated about it. But like what keeps me going is that I like literally have to have moments of clarity sometimes when I get in like my ruts, which is like constantly, where I'm like why are you so upset about something? Like this is good, you're fine, this is a blessing. But at the same time, I have no shame in saying that like I'm not done yet. Like I have dreams that I haven't attained that are really important to me that I want to attain as well. I use the analogy of like taking a ball and someone's like, I'm going to throw the ball in this direction and you're going to chase it. And that's your dream or whatever. And since I was 6 or 7, I knew I wanted to be an historian. And like, I was obsessed with history and the military and war and politics and all this kind of stuff. And I went to school for history and I got that, and I was about to go to grad school and I got my job at IGN and I came here instead. And it's like someone took the ball and was like, nah, fuck that. I'm throwing it in this direction instead. And I chased it, but I've always been looking in that direction. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Being like what could have happened. And it doesn't mean I don't want to go in this direction. It just means I'm super curious about what's over there too. And by the way, I'm curious about like what's in that direction and that direction too. I want to be a writer and I want to, I don't play music anymore, even though I grew up as a musician and love music and stuff like that. Like, so so my failed dreams are many because like to accomplish what I wanted to accomplish in the gaming industry, I had to abandon all that other stuff. And so all those dreams did fail, but it doesn't mean I'm not curious about it. It doesn't mean that I'm dead set on at least achieving 1 or 2 more of those goals. It does not mean that I don't want to do this too and that I will not always do this with you guys, because I will. It's a matter of like, I want to write a book and I want to play music again. And being a drummer, it's like really hard to play music in a city and you got to figure out those kinds of solutions. Or I miss playing hockey and I miss doing all these kinds of things. So my failed dreams are many, and I miss history and I miss being able to do those kinds of things. It's on my arms. It's like, it's a different kind of thing, but it doesn't mean that just because I had a failed dream doesn't mean that I didn't accomplish a dream that was just as important.
See, I wouldn't say that I wouldn't categorize those necessarily as failed dreams. I would categorize those as something that you still can do. Like, I feel when someone's failed at something, that means they've given up. Like, because that really is all failure is,
That's
right?
all it
You
is.
just say, I choose not to pursue this anymore because it beat me. So like one of my I wouldn't even call it a failed dreams, is that I want to make a movie one day. And I will make a movie one day. It may not be next year, it may not be 20 years from now, but it will happen. I will make that happen for myself. The only good thing for me is that I can use this as a springboard to do that, right? I get to maybe one day hopefully do that with you guys, and that would be really, really fun. But that's still, to use your analogy, I mean, that's someone throwing the ball in the exact same straight line that I'm on right now. It's just way the fuck down there.
Yeah.
And I don't know where it is. I don't know how long it's going to take me to run over and get it, but I'm going to get it.
The other way to think about that, and this is a quote that I heard recently that just like, hit me so hard, feels so right, especially like for where I am in my life right now. Somebody said like, once there's more things to do than there are hours in a day, it's not about managing your time anymore. It's not about time management. It's about priority management. Mm-hmm. And so for you, it's not that it's like that hockey and music are like failed dreams. It's just like, this is the fucking priority, because this is where the impact is. Mm-hmm. Like, this is where you guys have voices and are growing and like are challenged and you're building something. And like, this is the priority right now. And what's beautiful about that statement about time management and priority management is like, once you realize that you'll never be done, like, you'll just never be done. You will always want to do more things. Mm-hmm. Once you realize that it's not about doing all of the things, it's about doing the things that matter. And then these things you may or may not get to, but you fucking did the things that mattered.
You just blew my mind. That sums up my life so well, of just it's not time management. And like, I knew that, but I didn't know that until you just said it. And it's like, that makes so much sense. It is just priorities. It is just, you're never going to do all of it, but it is about figuring out what the things that you have to do now are.
And you will go home tonight and there will be 10 things that you didn't do today that would have been cool. They just wouldn't have been as fucking cool as this.
Yeah, no. And that's the thing, is like, every day you might make the wrong choice, but then you have tomorrow to do those things and fix that and just course correct. And I think that's kind of funny. We end up talking about ourselves a lot, but that's because that's our lives, right? Like, it is literally our life to talk about our lives, which is really fucking cool. And thanks to Patreon, that is all possible. But it's crazy that it's all systems that work together. Going back to the topic we were talking about earlier about like, if one thing fucks up, it fucks up everything. It is about thinking about, all right, if we introduce T-shirt Tuesday as a concept, that means that every first Tuesday of every month, we need to have a T-shirt designed that will go on sale. If we do that, that means we need to promote it. If we promote it, that means it takes a slot on this show. If we have that on that show, that means we can't promote this other thing we're trying to do. And it's like, you need to start thinking about all of this. And it's like, there's so many cool things we can do. There's so many cool shows we can make. What makes the most sense? Like, what works together? What works as a thing, And how do we make all of it happen? Because it's not even about time at that point. It's just about like, what is our maximum potential for things making sense? Because there's a breaking point of, there's time in the day to do it, but does it make sense?
Yeah, I feel like if you look at wildly successful people, they've done just that, right? Almost prioritization on a like epic scale, or like, and well, epic may not be the right word. Maybe
call it
like
ruthless.
psychotic and ruthless scale.
Ruthless prioritization.
Yeah, but like you look at a guy like Steve Jobs, and he prioritized the formation of his the progression of his company and the progression of the products they make above all else, and it attained him greatness. And I would truly say that he is a great man. I don't think anyone would deny that. But he was also widely touted as kind of tyrannical and not such a great guy to be around, and probably not the best father.
Denied the existence of his own daughter.
Yeah,
but named the computer after.
Right, but at the same time, I don't know if history's going to remember that so much as they remember he's the guy that revolutionized the way we interact with each other, which is pretty crazy to think. But I think there's a happy medium somewhere in there. I don't think you have to go. I think you can have a lot, but you're right. Prioritization is a really huge factor of both success and both of happiness as well. Because there's one thing to be said, like, it's depressing when you think, I want to do all these things, but you can't do any of them because you don't have time, so it's crippling, right? But being able to aptly prioritize 3 of those things, maybe today, I'm going to go to the gym today. Maybe not tomorrow, but today I'm going to go to the gym.
Yep.
That made me happy. That's good. I'm good for a couple days,
Yeah.
I feel better. Even though I'm probably not doing anything really, because I just go to the gym and hop on the elliptical machine and listen to a podcast and then leave. But it doesn't matter.
You can do that at the Kind of Funny gym.
Oh, I can do that at the Kind of Funny gym. We have a gym in our office. It's called an elliptical machine. We also have a full kitchen. It's called the kitchen.
Whoa.
We work out of our house.
You guys are fancy.
Yeah, I think that it's the one thing I kind of look at as a blessing was when I was going to start grad school in the fall, and I got my job offer from IGN in the spring when I graduated from Northeastern. I was too young and stupid to second guess any move I was making. So I was like, of course I'm gonna leave and go to California. Like, I can go back to this later. Fuck this, And I have no regrets about that at all. But I'm glad that I was in that 22-year-old kind of ignorant place in my life, which I think every 22-year-old, whether they're aware of it or not, is in that place when they're 22 years old, of being like, well, what is the repercussions of this? Are you gonna have any regrets at all? Like, I didn't even think about it. I just was
because
like,
you have all the time in the world when you're 22.
Right, and now,
I have so much time.
And now I'm 31, and I look back and I'm like, well, I still have no regrets. I was talking about this with someone recently. I'm like, I feel like I've been cursed in a way because, like, I really do have these interests that just don't make sense with each other. They don't make sense with each other. So there's like you were saying, like the ball being thrown that got you to IGN and then Kind of Funny and then to your film one day is all kind of in a straight line, but like none of my shit is near each other. And so like I didn't realize in my head that I had to like figure out a way to fuse these things as best as I could, which I did specifically with history and with games. And that's when I wrote all those pieces that everyone, a lot of people love, like about, the history of all these studios. And I tried to marry those things as well as I can. But I'm glad that I'm still in this position today. Like even though like I wonder and I look down where that other ball went over the horizon because it's so far away now, I'm like, well, like I have no problem being where I am right now. It's a blessing to be here. We have a great audience. Our company is great. I work with great people. I have great friends here. I've been in California for almost 9 years. It seems like it went by like that. I never thought in a million years I would be back here. I thought I'd be back on Long Island or in Boston or doing something else. So life takes you in unexpected places, but I'll always wonder. And not in a longing, pining sort of way. I would just always wonder like about what if you went in a different direction? Would you be longing for this too? And I think the answer, of course, is yes. Probably. So that's why I think you can't have any regret about the decisions you make in a kind of a systemic way, because it's like, well, you're always going to wonder, the grass is always greener somewhere else, but until it's not, because it almost never is. But I've tried to gain control of my life in such a way that I can continue to do this because I love games and I love talking about games and I love talking to you guys. I love doing our products. We do, the GameOverGreggy show and Conversation with Colin and all that kind of stuff. That's fun. And people seem to really enjoy it and it resonates with people. But I also I need to execute more and stop being so lazy in my spare time because I can tick off some of these boxes. I can play men's league hockey at Yerna Buena like that. I can get a studio, get my drum kit and put it in there and play whenever I want. I can do all these things. I just don't. So it's like ultimately on me and my own shoulders, and I can read more and I can be engaged more in politics and all that kind of stuff.
You say that, but you are probably if you actually look at yourself and compare yourself with the rest of the population, you're probably one of the most high performing individuals in the world. Like literally, if you compared yourself against 99% of other humans in the United States, you probably in terms of energy and smarts and expertise and using your time well, you probably outperform most everybody. So you also have to be kind to yourself, as you're thinking about it. Like you just said, I'm too lazy. Oh my God. If you ask, and the people in the chat room were like, they know that you guys bust your asses. They know this is a lot of work. Like you got to balance the longing with more, like the longing for more that like humans just have. Humans always want more. That's like I think why our species is so cool. But like you got to balance that also with being kind to yourself. You know, because if you want too much more, and if you're too hard on yourself for that, then you're just like depressed and miserable all the time. So there's this hard balance that you got to strike with like being ambitious, but then also taking a step back and being like, I'm on this crazy show that is reaching so many people right now, and like you gotta have that both. You know, you gotta have both to really feel like happy.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it was very kind of you to say. I feel like this grounds me though. This is the thing about what we do more than any of the other things. Like, you know, studying history, for instance, is about the past, and it's about living in the past and being obsessed with it, which I am. And playing music is emotion and a more visceral feeling. Like there's nothing more. Like I love nothing more than picking. Like when I walk in here, every time I pick up a guitar and I just start playing it, or I like sit behind the drums and look upstairs when we're here in the early morning and hope no one's here, and then I just play for a little while or something like that. Until I know someone's gonna get annoyed, so I stop.
You did. I did this morning. There was one, and no one was here. And the second you started playing, someone came out of one of those little conference rooms very nicely and was like, and just like walked away, and I was like, oh, I feel bad for that guy because he was like probably gonna start a call.
Yeah, sorry. I mean, you
Early
could have said
morning
something. You know, I don't know.
He was very nice.
I looked around. I've tried because
Yeah.
I thought you were here earlier. Nonetheless, what I'm saying is like this grounds me. Like I tweeted not too long ago. Like nothing about what we do resonates with me more than when I read like our Facebook messages, like our private messages, or go through our email, or get forwards, or read tweets where it's like, you like changed my life, or like something you said made me study this, and now I got my first job. And I'm like, really? I said this thing like 6 years ago, and you really like followed through on it, and now you're happy and successful. Like we touched really hundreds of thousands of people, and so like you can't trade that for the world, and I wouldn't. You know, so it's not to say that I have any regrets about doing what we do now. It's just to say like I am like ever curious. You know, like
You should be. You have a curious brain.
yeah,
It's a crazy brain.
It's crippling sometimes.
It is. It's a beautiful brain though.
Thank you.
It's a beautiful mind.
That feeling that you have though, like honestly, I'm sorry if I feel like if I'm repeating myself here, but like that's why humans are gonna land on Mars.
Yeah.
Like because our species feels like that all the time. We just want to explore. Like that's why humans are so cool, you know? And I think it's good to like recognize that that's a positive force in our lives. That's a positive thing. It's good to want more. Mm-hmm. And I'm happy with what I have. And it's both. You know, it's got to be both. That's one of the biggest lessons I've had at Patreon is like I'd say for the last year, I've been kind of, okay, I mean, I know folks seem happy and everything here, and we are to a large extent, but I also have been a little negative with the team, I think, about like, man, our product isn't good enough for our creators. Like, we need to like push, this needs to be better, this is broken, this didn't get fixed fast enough. Like, I've been negative, and it's been too negative. And I like realized that in the last month, like you gotta balance that with like, holy shit, we're sending millions of dollars a month to creators. We are awesome. And there's more things that we can do to be even more awesome. And let's do those. Like it really is about that balance.
But that's tough, right? We're the same way. We only talk to each other when one of us fucks up. We don't talk about all the amazing things everybody does on a daily basis, right? Kevin edits every Let's Play, but the only one we'll talk about is one where he fucks something up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Where we do all these. I put up every PS I love you. The only feedback I get on Colin is the one that I fucked up, the SoundCloud link. It's like, you know what I mean? It's just how it works, because that's how we are able to prioritize things, right? It's when there's trouble afoot, that's when something needs to be said. Not the fact of love and sex stuff was great. Nick and Tim should have said that, you know what I mean? Like this episode that went up on Monday was really fucking funny.
We can all be better about that.
Exactly.
Because we have expectations that things just happen. Yeah. Like Tim deals with the business and Nick deals with business. I'm just like, I don't know. Like I just have expectations, but like when I make a typo in a tweet, then I'll get a text being like, well, I deleted that. I'm like, I'm sorry. You know, exactly. We're all about.
We tell you about the one tweet that got fucked up, not the 96 other ones you put out that were fine and great.
Yeah. So it's like, no, we get it. And it's the same thing with PS I Love You. You're right. Like, because we just have expectations. Like, I think the blessing and the problem with Kind of Funny as a corporation is that it works so well, but you don't see the blood, sweat, and tears that each individual person is kind of putting into it on a daily basis. And so like, you just have expectations. Like, of course we're getting paid. I don't know. Nick spent fucking how many hours doing that? I don't know. I just get paid. So
at first it was a lot. Now it's pretty automated.
So I think you're right. Like positivity can go a long way. I've certainly suffered from that more than anyone. I'm certainly like an inherently pessimistic person. So it's like I have to fight that like every day to make sure that it's not grating on other people or wearing off on other people. Because the last thing I want is for like a pessimistic Greg. That's why we work, is because Greg is optimistic and I'm So it's like, I don't know. You're right.
Check this out. On Twitch right now in the chat room. there are product thinkers, product minds at Twitch who are fucking great. And one of the techniques they use to make this chat flowing right now, I'm zooming way out, super systemic. They optimize the shit out of this chat room. They have emoji and logos and custom things that, groups you can call your fans and names for things. And there's a whole experience happening in this chat that is optimized to give people in the chat and to give you guys who are running the show positive feedback. That positive feedback makes you want to do more shows, and it makes people want to leave more chats. That is a purposeful thing is in the chat room. It doesn't mean it's not bad. It's not like evil or dark or anything. It's very transparent. The chat is built to make conversation amazing and positive. Management is the same way. Personal management. When you're managing a person or a team or people, when you see a behavior that is amazing, you call it out and you write an amazing email. One of the greatest CEOs that I know wrote this. I saw this email that he wrote to the team. Someone sent him an email and said, "Hey, Dan, the trash outside is all packed and like the dumpsters are overflowing." They took a picture and you see overflow dumpsters outside the company. This guy runs 30 companies.
Yeah.
And an employee sends him an email saying the dumpsters are full. Right? I think a lot of CEOs would send him an email back, be like, "So fucking tell facilities and shut up, go away." Dan, the CEO, writes an email to the entire company, like tens of thousands of people, attaches a picture and says, "Everybody look at this email that I just got. This is high level. Look at how aware and how awesome this employee is. Look at how much they care about this company, that they even care about the trash, overflowing trash. When you drive into work, it's not nice to see overflowing dumpsters." So he reinforced that positive behavior and it empowers everyone at the company. And so when you guys are talking about like not sending enough positive signals to each other when you do good things, like it might work because it's a team of 5, but when the team gets bigger, you got to reinforce positive behavior in product with users. You got to do it with people, with teams. Like positive reinforcement gets shit cranking.
I'm into it.
Yeah,
It does.
It gives me much to think about.
Ladies and gentlemen, this has been the Game Over Greggy Show. Each and every week, 4, sometimes 5 best friends gather on this table, each bring a random topic of discussion for your amusement. Good job. I'm not doing it during the thing. You did the knock. No, this is a 1000%
Kevin, the pills are wearing
serious.
off. Give me more of that Molly or whatever you gave me earlier.
You gave him Molly before the show?
You gave me Molly.
It was Zyrtec.
It was Zyrtec.
Why was I
Close,
touching
it was
myself
close.
so much then?
You always do that.
If you like that, head over to patreon.com/kindafunny where you can toss us a few bucks, get every episode early, along with some exclusive perks and episodes. If you don't like that and don't have any bucks, go to youtube.com/kindafunny where we post the entire show topic by topic, day by day, until the entire thing posts as one big video in MP3 on Friday. Jack, thank you for everything. Changing
dudes.
our lives, doing this, coming
thank
on
you.
the
We owe you
show,
a great
letting us
deal.
have this
You guys
space.
are the best. Thank you
No, you're the
for
best.
having me.
Thank you.
No,
Thank
guys
you,
are the
Patreon,
best.
of course. And thank you for watching. Until next time, it's been our pleasure to serve you.